market price is equal to, it has five components, five items: net indirect tax, compensation of employees, rent, interest, and profit. Now, next step is your estimation of net value added at factor cost. How will we find out? This we can get from this. So, value added at market price minus net indirect tax. This we can get from any one item from this also. Tell me how? It has how many components? Four items only. So we can say net value added at factor cost is equal to nothing but compensation of employees plus rent plus interest plus profit. Now here I will tell you one very important thing. These three, rent, interest and profit, we call them as operating surplus. Operating surplus. So operating surplus is sum of rent, interest and profit. So we can also say that net value added at factor cost is equal to nothing but compensation of employees plus operating surplus. Is it clear? Lastly, we have to find out value of national income. Now national income is nothing but NNP at factor cost. So what we have to do? Net value added. First you have to find out NDP. First we will find out value of NDP at factor cost. What we do? Net value added. How many sectors are there? 3 sectors. So what we do? Net value added at factor cost in primary plus secondary plus tertiary. If you add net value added at factor cost in all the 3 sectors, you will get NDP at factor cost. Now, after that, you have to calculate national income. National income is nothing but NDP at factor cost plus what you have to add? This is nothing but NNP at factor cost. Tell me now.
NF plus NFI
Plus net factor income from. So these are the various steps to find out national income by product method, or we call it as output method or value added method. When we use this method, we have to use certain precautions. So what are these precautions? By using net value added, actually for all the 3 methods, most of precautions are same. So I think we'll take up these precautions at the end, right? Now, first this method is clear to you. Here, I would like to explain you another important concept, which is called as double counting. Double counting. Usually one question is also asked on this particular concept. First of all, double counting does not mean twice. Usually double we say 2 times. It is not like that. Double counting means in the estimation of national income, when value of one item is included more than once. See, this is more important. More than once. When we include value of any item more than once while estimating national income, that is called as double counting. Now we will take one example. See, suppose we are producing bread in an economy, right? Say, we will make this column, serial number, then we will write producer or production unit, then we will write product, what we are producing, then selling price, then cost price, then value added. Value added. Now, say farmer. Farmer has produced, say, wheat. Suppose he sells this wheat at the rate of 100. So selling price is in rupees, say rupees 10 kg, rupees per 10 kg. Cost price also, so rupees, say I'm taking rupees per 10 kg. Or we'll do one thing, because some products are there, we'll just write rupees. Rupees. Okay. Now, suppose he has not incurred any cost price. Cost price is 0. So we will find out value added by a very simple formula: selling price minus cost price. So 100 minus 0 is equal to 100. So in this step, the value added by the farmer is 100. Now, farmer sells this product to miller, and he converts this into flour. Suppose he sells this commodity in 150. Okay. Now, the cost price of miller, because he has purchased from farmer, how much he has paid? 100 rupees. So, we will write cost price is 100. What will be the value added? 150 minus 100 is equal to 50. So, value added by miller in this production process is 50. Now, he sells to baker and he makes bread. Say he sells this bread at the cost of 170. Now, what is the cost price of baker? He is buying from miller. At what rate he is buying? 150. So his cost price will be 150. So what is value added by baker? 170 minus 150 is equal to 20. Right? Now he sells, baker sells to shopkeeper. Now this shopkeeper, he is also selling bread. Say he is selling at the cost of 180. So cost price will be 170. This will become 180 minus 170. His addition is 10 rupees. Right? Now, in this, what is the final product? I told you national income includes the value of final product. Here two things are, two stages, type this is stage 3 and 4. Both are producing bread. But in this example, this bread is not final good because it is resold. So what is the definition of produces goods? Which further production or for resale. So we will take final product only shopkeeper where he is selling to the consumer. Now if you add this, what is the total cost here now, tell me? 600. It is 600. And what is the total cost price here?
420.
420. And
180.
what this is the price here? What is the price here?
180.
180. Now in this example you see, when farmer is producing wheat, this selling price if you check, this wheat, value of wheat is included at this stage, this stage, this stage, and this stage. How many times? 4 times.
4 times.
The value of flour is included 3 times. The value of bread is included 2 times. This is called double counting. So double counting means when the value of any item is included more than once. Double counting. Now if you add the selling price, what is net income? Money value of final goods. Suppose if you take this final good, according to this example, what will be the value of final product? 600. But actually final product is only bread. What is the price of bread? 180. According to the definition of national income, in this example, it is the value of only 180. But if you add all the selling prices, it is 600, which is on higher side. So what is the impact of double counting? Double counting leads to overestimation of national income. Overestimation of national income. So how can we avoid it? How can you calculate correct national income? How can you avoid overestimation of national income? When we use value added method. What we do in value added method? We do not include the value of cost price. And or second thing, we should take value of final product only. I give you the definition of final product. What is final product? Final product means the goods which are purchased by consumers for satisfying their needs. But if goods are purchased for further production or for resale, we call it as intermediate consumption. And we should not include the value of intermediate goods. Otherwise, this will lead to overestimation of national income. So this concept is very simple, but you can easily get your marks. So usually the question is double counting. What is the impact of double counting? How can you avoid it? So double counting is when the estimation of national income, we include the value of any item more than once. It leads to overestimation of national income. And how can you avoid? 2 things we can write. We can use value added method. Second thing we can say, we should take the value of final goods only. Third thing you can say that we should not include the value of intermediate goods. I think this first method is clear to you. What is product method or value added method and what is double counting. Producing sectors. Say what we did in our product method. There are 3 producing sectors which employ factors of production. Which are these? Primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. These are 3 producing sectors which employs or hires factors of production. I told you what are the factors of production? Factors of production we have learned land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. Right? So this is identification of producing sector. Now second thing, classification of factor payment. We can classify these 4 actually. You know that land gets rent, wages and salary, which is also called as compensation of employees. Capital gets interest and producer gets profit. Broadly, we can classify this into 3. First is your classification of, first is your compensation of employees. thing is compensation of employees. Now compensation of employees means it is the payment made to the factors of production, that is labor. Whatever payment is made to labor, we call it as compensation of employees. It has two components. The first component is wages and salaries, which are paid in cash or in kind. You know, salaries, their father, they are working in Air Force or in HL. Now, whatever cash salary they are getting, that is one part. But in kind means they are having medical facilities, residential facilities, educational facilities, canteen facilities they are having, recreational facilities they are having, or transport facilities. So all these facilities, that is the compensation of employees in terms of kind. And the second aspect is employers' contribution towards social security schemes. You know, pension facilities are there. So these pension facilities are employers' contribution towards social security. Maternity leave is given. Paternity leave is given. If any casualty happens, that casualty allowance is person getting. So these are payments for their social security. So compensation of employees includes wages and salaries in cash and kind, and employers' contribution towards social security schemes. There is slight difference between wages and salaries. See, wages are usually paid for doing some physical work, or we call it as blue collar work. Blue collar jobs. On that we get it. While salaries are paid for white collar job. White collar job means where you are sitting mental work, or you are doing some mental work. For that we get salary. Usually these wages are paid daily basis or weekly, while salaries are usually paid monthly. Okay? So this is the difference between wages and salaries. Now, employees' contribution, I would like to tell you that all these payments which are made by a producer, we call it as factor payment. We have that these are compensation of employees, operating surplus and mixed income, or compensation of employees, rent, interest and profit are factor payments. Why we call it factor payments? Because they are paid by the producer to hire the factors of production, that is factor payment. Now who are receiving this? Households. Landlord is getting rent, capitalist is getting interest, laborers are getting wages and salaries, or we call it as compensation of employees, and producer gets profit. So from their side it is factor income. So in an economy, factor income is always equal to factor payment. Only difference is factor income is received by the owners of factors of production, and factor payment is paid by the producer for utilizing their services. There is another concept, and that concept is called as transfer income or transfer payment, which we will be using in this method. Transfer income or transfer payments. Now see, in factor income or factor payment, one is offering something, other is getting. है payments are made by one sector to another sector or within the sector without expecting anything from the other party. That is, it is simply transfer from one pocket to other pocket. Very simple example of transfer payment is donations. During celebration of Ganesh Utsav or Durga Mata ka karne or any other, what we do? We are giving donations. So these donations are example of transfer income. They are not generating any income in the economy. It is simply transfer from one pocket to other pocket. Suppose if I am giving some donation of 100 rupees, this 100 rupees is not generated in economy. It is from my income to the people who are celebrating this function is giving. So transfer income or transfer payment, one who is paying transfer payment, one who is receiving will become transfer income.